Where has this film screened at this point, and what has been the reception and the responses from audiences to You and Me?
Yeah, we screened the film all over the world. Film festivals everywhere, a number of studio test screenings, anywhere from Orange County to Zagreb, Washington D.C. to London to Amsterdam, go on and on. And the response has been very, very interesting, and by the way, we make sure we screen them, particularly when it comes to the studio test screening. We made sure to screen them to very diverse audiences, politically, demographically, and the response has been. I'd break them up into two types of two categories. One is the European response, and one is the U.S. response.
Yeah.
The U.S. response has been absolutely a success in my view. We're getting 85 to 95%. Definitely recommended to a friend. Enjoyment of the movie on every level. So I think, it's, in my view, an unqualified success in terms of U.S. And that includes liberal audiences and conservative audiences. In Europe, it's a slightly more mixed response. I would say we're over 50%. But I've gotten some very, very positive reactions in Europe, and I've gotten some very bizarrely harsh reactions as well.
What do they base the harsh reaction on? I mean, do they give you reasons?
From the emotional response, which has no basis in fact, to some very valid criticisms. One that I would take issue with, but certainly that some of the criticisms have come from places and people that certainly have thought through these issues. Some of the typical responses are from the emotional and I think non-intellectual responses are, this is just a polemic. It's your point of view. Who cares what your point of view is? This is valid. I'm not trying to make this thing into anything but a polemic. It is my point of view, but I think held, and I think I proved my point. Some of the criticism has been, why are you blaming the UN? You should be blaming the U.S. And there's some certainly when it came to Rwanda, there's some valid criticism there. But the fact remains, this movie's not about U.S. foreign policy. It's about the United Nations.
Right.
So the movie never gets prescriptive near the end?
It doesn't. And we made that point, and we thought about that. Do we want to have an answer? And the truth is, there is no one answer. And
that's true.
There's no way you can tack that on to the end of the film without it kind of seeming trite and empty.
There is no soundbite that's going to solve the thing.
There isn't. You have to devote an entire film to it. So we thought the best way, I think, to handle that, I think everybody should come up with their own way of solving this thing. And people have. And people's reactions in terms of how to solve it are diverse and almost all equally valid. And I think that's far more powerful than us prescribing, one or two solutions.
All right, so your goal here was to raise awareness about these issues and start a conversation and get people thinking about this rather than putting forth any kind of solution.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think when you do a ground up solution to a problem, I think it's far more powerful than a top down one.
Right. Great. Where does the film go from here? We have it with us for the weekend, and what are your hopes? What are your plans for the film in the future?
Sure. We plan on doing a very, very large theatrical release. We have an agreement with a studio. I can't mention the name yet, but a large, well-known studio, which is going to who will release the film. Very, very wide release for a documentary.
All right, and when
is doing that in the next few months, and that's where I spend probably 80% of my time is working on the release plan.
Great. And so is filmmaking the new career for you?
God, let me put it this way. If I get everybody's money back, the answer is yes. If I don't, my new career will be hiding.
I see. So...
I was warned beforehand, do not raise money from the mob. But, I just thought this is the easiest, quickest way to do it.
Right. Yes. Well, then you'll have a lot to deal with in the future.
Oh, but they're interest rates.
That's right. I mean, are there other issues?
But the customer service is phenomenal.
Yes. Are with this experience with You and Me, Are you seeing working in film as being a viable way of being able to raise awareness about particular issues that you might feel strongly about in addition to this? Or
I think it's the most potent way that exists today to getting a point of view out. For better or for worse, probably for worse, frankly, books just don't have an impact, right? And they just don't get the readership, they don't get the sponsorship, they don't get the media attention that film does. And I think if you look, across the film landscape over the recent years, the past 5 to 10 years,
right,
I think you see a number of films that have come out that have had tremendous global and local impact. And I think you look at a film like An Inconvenient Truth. An Inconvenient Truth, there's no two ways about it. It changed the narrative and the dialogue of the global warming.
I would agree.
Absolutely put global warming on the front burner issue of the world. And it is absolutely, I think, responsible, maybe not for its entirety, but certainly for lighting a fire under the world when it came to that particular, no matter what you think of the issue,
right.
You can't deny the potency of that film in terms of getting that issue out in front.
Right.
If you look at a movie like Super Size Me, Super Size Me was we're not talking a movie that did $100 million, but it did enough to create so much awareness about McDonald's that it took one of the largest corporations in the world and it forced that corporation to take one of its most profitable menus off of its, one of the most profitable products it had off of its menu.
Right.
If you look today at what's going on with Waiting for Superman, here's a documentary that is, in fact, changing the debate and the narrative when it comes to education, particularly when it comes to public education, the failure of the teachers' unions to create what should be the best public education in the world.
Right.
And if you look at how Obama spent 15 minutes talking about that movie on Today Show, these are the things that is the medium that has the most impact in the world. And if you really want to make an impact, if you want to put your ideas out into the marketplace, it has to be done through film.
Great. That's interesting. I moderated a panel at last year's film festival about that particular subject. So I'm very interested to hear what you think and very much agree with a lot of what you're saying about that. And we are, unfortunately, running out of time with you, Ami.
That's it? That's it?
No.
I isolated like 4 hours of my day for this thing.
You did? Well, geez.
I got a lot more to say.
Wow, thank you.
Well, you are going to have lots of opportunities over the weekend at the film festival. I just want to remind our listeners that You and Me screens on Saturday the 16th from 2:30 to 4 at the Music Hall, and on Sunday the 17th from 1:15 to 2:45 at the Moffat Ladd House. And Ami, you're going to be here, right?
As long as the booze is flowing, you can pencil me in.
Well, you missed the last discussion we had a few minutes ago about the after parties, so I can assure you that you're going to have a great time here.
As they say in New England, you'll be all set.
Yes. So Ami will be available after both of those screenings, as well as he is another one of the documentarians who will be participating on the Landscape of Documentary Filmmaking panel on Friday from 2:30 to 4:30. So, Ami, you have plenty of chances to talk more about the films and about documentary making in particular. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing you this weekend and meeting you and having further discussions. And I'm sure that Ami will be happy to also sit down and chat with other folks and being at the party.
I have to do several live interviews. So, Ami, I'm going to track you down.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and give you
pleasure.
a chance to say more. I was going to ask, is there any chance Matthew Groff will be here with you?
Matt will not be making it out. I've got him working in the cave.
Oh, good. Okay.
And he's wired in and can't be disturbed. So I'm the one I'm the least valuable of the team. So I'm the one.
I'm not sure about that, but
the mouthpiece.
Well, thanks for taking the time to chat with us this afternoon, and truly, we are looking forward to having you with us for the weekend, for the festival, and look forward to chatting with you more.